I'm not a philosopher. I'm not a politician. I didn't even go to college. I went to high school and started working. I'm a truck driver and an equipment operator from the hills of New Hampshire. So I just read the news and look between the lines and actually know what's going on to some extent. That puts me far ahead of everybody who's running this shit show behind us. But I've been a working man for my entire life. And as any working man can tell you, your time is your most valuable thing that you have. And, I've done a lot of grueling work over the years. I've done roofing. I've done power line work. I've done truck driving, all sorts of things, working 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week. And in the year 2019, I worked almost 3,000 hours, and I was doing all sorts of crazy jackhammering, hand-digging holes, just miserable work day in and day out. And then in the following year of 2020, they had taken almost $20,000 out of my taxes for federal income tax in 2019. And then in 2020, what did they do with that money? Well, first of all, they locked me in my house and said that I was non-essential and I couldn't get a job for a few months. And then once I finally got a job and started working through the rest of the year, they signed the 2 largest spending bills in human history. And what did they do with that fucking money? They sent it to foreign countries and special interest projects in this country, and Ukraine too. Israel, Saudi Arabia, administering the genocide of the Palestinians and the Houthis. And then, after they signed these huge spending bills, on January 6th in 2021, a ragtag group of Trump supporters had a riot at the Capitol building, and they broke some windows and they stole a podium and they scared some of our elected lawmakers. And to our government, who had been funding the genocide in Yemen all year, that was the worst act of terrorism since September 11th, 2001. How do they define terrorism? Terrorism is the use of violence against innocent people, typically civilians, in the pursuit of political aims. For how many times I have heard January 6th described as terrorism, I have never in my life heard a better definition of the United States Congress. So, all this to say, our government tries to gaslight us into thinking that, the January 6th protesters were the biggest, scariest thing that's ever happened. And they've been escalating us toward World War III. This war didn't start in 2022 with Putin just deciding he wanted to go into Ukraine. This has been provoked for years with coups, with dumping billions of dollars of weapons into Ukraine and surrounding countries. And they finally had enough. So that's all I got to say. Your government sucks. They don't spend your money on protecting you or making your life better. Taxation is theft. Free the January 6th protesters. That's it.